Hi guys, Matthew from Your Fidelity here, back again with the Campfire Orbit, except this time we're going to take a shot at reviewing it instead of unboxing it like we did in the last video. But first, let me get to some news, some good news. I finally shaved. Alright, so let's start the review with the overall functionality. Comfort-wise, I really have nothing to talk about here, nothing negative to say. I mean, those are very comfortable. The shells on the earphones themselves are very light, they're made of plastic and are well fitted, so you don't have those sharp little parts inside your ear. The stock tips are pretty good as well. They come in silicone and foam. I haven't really tested the foam tips, I've only tested the silicone ones, and that's all I really needed, to be honest. Didn't really need to swap the tips. I've swapped them to Final Audio Type E, but I haven't really seen a great increase in the sound quality, so you can just stick with the silicone tips. In terms of stuff like operating time and charging and stuff like that, I think as long as you can find info on the internet about it, then I don't really need to discuss it in depth. I can only say that the wireless connectivity of those and basically everything Bluetooth related controls, it really was not an issue for me. Sometimes when I had it in my jeans pocket, they would kind of there were some interruptions, like the sound would go out for a split second then come right back, but this might be an isolated thing, and apart from that I really have nothing to complain about. Everything is pretty clear. The IEMs are easy to control via the panels on the sides, and I haven't really had any issues with like touching something accidentally or whatever. So with that quickly out of the way, let's get right to the sound, and let's start with the bass, because the bass here is really the thing that makes the sound signature of those. I think it has the greatest effect on basically every other facet of the sound performance, be it tonality or technical performance. Everything is basically affected by the bass, and let me explain. So the bass in those bad boys is very, very large and prominent. So much so, in fact, that it kind of bleeds into other parts of the frequency response. Bass energy is shifted to the mids, which kind of makes for a pretty uncontrolled experience overall. The punch is there definitely. It's not the sharpest, but it's tactile. You can really feel, kick drums and stuff like that. It's very apparent. It hits quite hard, not the hardest out there, but hard. Quality-wise, the bass is similar to Honeydew by Campfire also. However, I think Honeydew is just this little bit stronger in terms of the punch. And back to the bleeding issue, I find that there's so much energy in the bass that in fact it kind of takes away from the presence in the mid-range and the highs, and the technical performance is affected as well. So expect me to mention it quite a few times as we go. Now onto the mids. The mids are quite smooth. They're not the most detailed, however there is a certain level of detail to them. There is a decent amount of information passed on to you when you listen to the mids. The vocals again are not the most, they don't pop out the most. This is definitely not a mid-forward earphone, and thankfully they're presented in a way that doesn't really make the mids lost somewhere. They're a bit more quiet than the bass, but they're definitely there. If you like to listen to vocal focused music and there's not that much bass to be intended, then you may not really be satisfied with this because, as I said time and time again, the bass here is definitely the heaviest striker of any other facet of the sound. So now I know I was a bit short about the mids because there's not really that much happening there. They're okay, but okay is probably the most I can say about them. On to the treble. Treble wise, treble suffers from the same thing as the mids do, which is being overpowered by the bass. A little bit muddied, and the sparkle, the shine is kind of lost in there, but they're not non-existent in any way. There are some highs, definitely, just I would prefer them to be a little bit more present. So regarding tonality, I'd like to paint an overall picture because I've given you a pretty dumbed down reviews on the aspects of the sound. So overall, I've seen some people claim that it is a V-shaped IEM. I have to disagree. I mean, maybe to some ears it is a V-shaped IEM. To mine, it's definitely not. The bass is definitely boosted in those. It is definitely a Basshead IEM. So for songs like, well, maybe not the songs. Let's talk genres. Genre-wise, if you listen to stuff that really appreciates some elevated bass response, like hip-hop, electronic music, you're gonna have a lot of fun with those, a lot of fun. I actually loved listening to stuff like Danger Doom, MF Doom, well, same thing almost. Any old hip-hop just sounds great. If it's hip hop, it's gonna sound fun on those. It may not be the most detailed, not the most like separated, layered, but it's fun. It's just good old fun. But the story changes when you want to listen to something that may take advantage of a great technical performance, so many live performances may suffer. Music that focuses on vocals may sound like those vocals are a little bit, underrepresented. And if you listen to highs focused music, then just get another earphone, basically. So, with this quick roundup of the tonality, let's get into technical performance. The best thing when it comes to technical performance in those are the dynamics. The dynamics of the low end are pretty nice. I'm sorry. The punch is definitely there, and it kind of lends itself to the overall note weight. So if you like that heavy stroke of an acoustic guitar, you might find a lot of fun in those. Surprisingly, the soundstage on those is pretty amazing, pretty impressive. With such a bass-focused, energetic in the lower mids sound signature, I wouldn't have expected to hear such a soundstage. It's honestly pretty wide. It's not that deep, but it's wide, and it executes the left and right kind of presentation quite well. And I think it's something that makes an even bigger of a case for calling these similar to the Honeydew. Every day that I listen to those, I am more and more convinced that this is like a true wireless Honeydew. Imaging, unfortunately, suffers from the muddiness of the sound. If you listen to stuff that requires pretty precise placement of the instruments and stuff, you may not really enjoy the way those IEMs do the imaging. So I know I've said some pretty negative stuff about this IEM, but let me give you a piece of my mind and my philosophy when it comes to things like this. I've been speaking to Pavel, founder of Ear Fidelity, where we've spoke about Roston Red Zero, even those as well, I believe. We came to the conclusion that not every earphone needs to present the most neutral sound signature. Not every headphone needs the best technical performance there is. And in fact, you can still have lots of fun listening to this, and I think this is what it was intended for. I use these mainly on my commutes, on my walks, walk to the store, doing some sports, stuff like that, chores around the house, whatever. And then it's a really fun IEM that kind of presents the sound in an engaging way. And I think that's a good note to take when it comes to this IEM. When I want some analytical listening, I would choose something else. If I want a true wireless Basshead IEM, then those might be for you. If you appreciate a wide soundstage, even more. Thank you guys so much for watching. I think that's gonna do it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye.